If you are terrified that your ex is going to text you or show up and that you won't be able to ignore him or resist that, your problem isn't actually strength. And I'm going to explain that in this video because I was in your exact same shoes. For years, I was in that toxic on and off cycle where we'd break up, get back together, break up, get back together. And every time we'd break up, I'd have that same fear that I don't know if I'll be strong enough to resist him if he comes back, if he texts me, if he shows up. And now it's a fear that I see in all of my clients as well. It's that, am I going to be too weak? Am I going to be strong enough to resist him? But first and foremost, I want to say if you're experiencing that, of course, you're experiencing that, and it makes complete sense given your situation. Every time prior to this that you've kind of entered and exited that toxic cycle, this has happened where you left and you thought it was best that you leave, but then he came back and you went back. And there's genuinely no shame. No shame. Like, I want to be very clear. There's no shame. I went back to my ex at least 10 times, maybe even 20. Who knows? My friends were sitting me down and giving me some very serious talks about what I was doing. And so, like I said, I say none of this with shame. But every time before this, you have gone back. So, of course, you feel like if he comes back, you're going to go back. That's all you have evidence for up until this point. And it's actually very sane of you. I've been like really stuck on this idea of insanity means doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. Well, if you're worried about the same outcome from the same thing, you are sane. So, first and foremost, you're sane. You're not crazy. This is a very appropriate fear and one I want to help you tackle because, and we'll talk about this in a bit, that moment's going to come. He's going to show up one way or another. But like I said, we'll get there. So, another thing I want to point out about this fear is you don't know if you'll be strong enough if he comes back because you know deep down that that's not the right thing to do. Like, you're strong or you're scared you're not strong enough to not go back because you know the right thing for your life is not to go back. And so I want to point that out because you're here watching this video right now because deep down you already know that you have an intuition saying this relationship is not right for me. I don't want to continue living like this. And that was something I felt really deeply like I cannot go on like this anymore. So it's not a matter of like is this right or wrong? It's just a matter of not knowing if you'll be able to choose yourself when he comes back. And that's why I say it's not a matter of strength. This is not a matter of willpower. It's a matter of, do I trust myself enough to handle this situation in alignment with my deepest knowing? And that is a whole different thing. And that's what I hope by the end of this, you'll feel like a total different mindset about these moments. Because strength and sheer willpower, that's like, well, this is a little crazy, but honestly, it's like a drug addict and you put drugs in front of the drug addict and you're like, don't do them. It's like, it's gonna be really, really, really hard, you know? Like, so there's a different way to handle these moments, and we're gonna get into all that. So, like I said, this is not about strength, it's about self trust. And so I want to talk about the nature of trust for a second. I'm currently reading this fabulous book, Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, and she was talking about she's raising a daughter. Her daughter's I forget, elementary school, middle school, she's young. And she went and told her friends something like secretive. She asked her to keep it a secret. And all of a sudden, the girl goes and tells everyone in the class, and she's so embarrassed. And so she gets home and she tells her mom, Brene Brown, that she's never going to tell anyone anything ever again. Like, she's so embarrassed and she's never going to let that happen again. And her mom, who is a vulnerability researcher and knows that shutting down like that isn't the best path forward after being hurt, she came up with an analogy to help her daughter understand how to navigate this situation and how to navigate trust and connection in general, which is that trust is like a marble jar. And she says, when somebody does something really nice, when somebody, that criteria is kind of up to you. Like, whatever, like if they remember your birthday or whatever little things lead to, you feeling good and feeling like you can trust this person, they kept your secret, this and that. then you can kind of add marbles into the jar. Whereas if they do the opposite, they tell your secrets, they hurt you, you take some marbles out. And that really helped her daughter. And that really helped me because if you haven't seen my last video, it's exactly about that desire to want to like never trust and never love again after being hurt. I'll link it. But really, like, trust should be like a marble jar, you know? We give everyone a jar, we give everyone a chance, and they either prove it or they disprove it. So the thing is, it's works the same way with yourself. You have that same marble jar with yourself. And like Brene Brown says, trust is built one marble at a time. So the thing is, when you're in a toxic relationship for a long time and you're doing this on and off thing, with me specifically and with all my clients, and I'm guessing with you too, you took a lot of marbles out. It's hard to admit, it's sad to admit, but it's the truth. And part of the process of recovering from this is being very truthful. One of the things that was hardest for me to accept was that I probably threw the marbles out, shattered the jar, gave him all the pieces, and asked him to fix it. Like, I had no jar. And so, of course, every time I'd leave and then think I was going to walk away, it's like, not even like there's any marbles in there. It's like, I don't even have the jar. I don't even know where the jar is. It's broken. It's in his hands. Like, how am I going to put marbles in my marble jar when my jar shattered with somebody else? So, of course, if you are now walking away and wanting to rebuild self trust and create a relationship with yourself where you know you won't go back because that's what you feel is in alignment with what you know deep down, it's going to take work. And this is the work. It's putting that marble jar back together and putting it back into our hands and putting marbles in there. And it's not like, oh, we're done and I should just be able to stay away from him and not cave if he comes back, because our marble jar needs fixing before we can just be like okay like that. And that's why I said this is not about willpower, it's not about strength. This is about becoming safer with yourself. It's about building that relationship because overall, like, if you're wanting to heal from a toxic relationship and not re-enter toxic cycles, your goal isn't just to be able to avoid and resist his actions, right? It's to actually become somebody who trusts herself completely and never loses herself again for anybody else. And so that is the work, and that's what I want to help you. This is not centered. I'm so sorry. Is that better? I think so. So I said this earlier, but this moment, him coming back, that moment is coming. In one way or another, it's coming because maybe it doesn't look like him actually showing up at your door and coming back, or maybe it does because Lord knows you can't predict these people's actions. But it could look like seeing him again in person, it could look like him texting or calling you, it could look like your own urge to go back because you miss him and you miss the safety that you felt there. Ironically, because maybe that wasn't even safe. I know in my shoes, I felt safe in a place I wasn't safe. It's so confusing, right? But in one way or another, that situation is going to reappear in your life. And back when I was going through it, every time that I felt the urge, like to go back or just like the feeling of missing him, I genuinely thought I was failing in this journey. I thought, I know this isn't right for me. Why do I want to go back? Why would I want to go back to somewhere I've only ever felt hurt? And I genuinely felt like, oh my gosh, I haven't healed at all. Like, I'd have a few good weeks, a few good days, and then feel like I miss him. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have not healed at all. Now, it's been a few years. I'm in a much healthier relationship now. I have not spoken to my ex in many years now, and I have a completely different outlook. I've done a lot of research on understanding this process, and navigating this experience is genuinely one of the most confusing things someone will ever go through, and I think it's really hard for people that haven't gone through it to understand that. But I was determined to make sense of what I went through because I don't want you to have to walk through this alone. I don't want you to feel like you're failing and crazy when really these are all steps of the journey that make perfect sense. Just nobody teaches us this. And so that is genuinely why I do everything that I do. Anyways, back to this specific moment when he shows up again or you feel like you want to go back. This is what I call a test. And it is a very crucial part of the healing process and of rebuilding a relationship with yourself and in any change you're doing in general. So Put very simply, a test is a moment when an old situation appears that activates kind of this old identity, this old pattern that we're trying to change. And it asks you, will you return to who you were, or are you going to become who you want to become? I have an essay on this on my Substack. I will say it is part of my paid subscription, which is I think $5. And so there's no, I'm going to literally read the parts that are applicable here. So there's no pressure for you to go over there and buy it, but just saying that's the source of this. So the essay is called Growing, but it feels like regressing. And what I wrote is that these situations are not random inconveniences, nor are they proof that life is against you. They are life's way of asking you, when old habits call you back, do you fall back or choose differently in the moment? Can you stay consistent without immediate reward? Do you choose safety or expansion so that life can reorganize itself and your reality accordingly? Basically, these moments where he comes back or you feel the urge, or there's many other versions of this and everyone's are specific. This is something that I work on with all my clients, is understanding what those moments look like and how to handle them, which I will give you some advice in a little about kind of how to handle these moments differently so that you can rebuild trust and restore that relationship with yourself rather than get sucked back in. But this is something I help all of my clients understand is crucial. If you can recognize these moments, you'll realize that they're not actually a sign that you're failing or that you haven't healed or that you're not doing as well as you thought. They are actually opportunities for growth. They are showing you where growth is still needed, and they are providing you the opportunity to affirm that change. Because the way you've gotten here is by you made decisions. And so the way you get out of here is by making new decisions. So these moments are opportunities for you to make a new decision that aligns with your deepest knowing and who it is you want to grow into. And so I want to read just another paragraph or two from my essay just because I think the way it's written, it's very beautiful and I want to share it with you the way I wrote it. So I wrote, the way change takes place, it cannot happen in theory alone. Just as physical strength is built not by thinking about lifting weights, but by actually lifting them again and again, emotional and spiritual growth are not built by insight alone, but by repeatedly meeting life differently. This is the purpose of tests. They are quite literally the gym of transformation. Every time you feel the urge and do not obey it, you weaken the old pathway, and every time you choose differently, you strengthen the new one. Every time you stay present instead of abandoning yourself, you build trust with yourself. In presenting me with the urge to go back, life was asking me just how serious I was about moving forward. Life was presenting me with an opportunity to prove it. Again, like this is seriously some of the most transformational information I've ever learned in my whole life. And so, I mean, you can't get stronger by thinking about lifting weights. You have to go to the gym and lift them. You can't build self trust by thinking, I trust myself. You have to go and prove that. You have to approach moments differently. But without awareness and recognition and understanding shame and how that may make us spiral and do things that create more shame, it's hard. So that is why I share this information, because the sooner you know this, honestly more quickly, or maybe not more quickly, but you won't get stuck. You won't be stuck thinking you're failing, because you're not. Every moment is an opportunity for growth to take place, for you to make a new decision, for you to affirm a new identity that you want to become, for you to act in alignment. So yeah, the sooner you know this, the easier to navigate this process becomes. And naturally, your next question is probably, okay, I get it. What should I actually do in those moments? And this is what I call building a test protocol. Again, this is something I do with every single one of my clients during my coaching program. And it's really crucial to making sure that you navigate these moments in a way that aligns with your inner knowing and aligns with who you want to become and your intention moving forward. Because the thing about tests is it's not just like, hey, I'm a test, I'm here. It's like you see your ex and you go into fight or flight. Like these moments are so emotionally real and overwhelming and so full of emotional charge that it's hard. It takes repetition meeting these and really a level of presence in your life to be able to identify, oh, this is a moment of this. Because I have had so many times where I felt this, I saw him and I went back. And I felt like I wanted to go back, so I went back. These moments are not just like, hey girl, pick differently. No, they feel consuming. And so planning ahead of time is really crucial. I'll give you a few simple steps. And just to plug now, I do offer free one on one clarity calls that are an hour long. And we talk through where you are in your journey, what you're struggling with. You can ask me questions about my journey and what I struggled with or what I've learned. And I can best help you identify your next step. And so that'll be linked below in the description and it'll be there for you. So, with that being said, here's my simple protocol to planning ahead for your tests. My protocol to help you make your protocol for your test. So, step one is sitting down and identifying them. It's asking yourself, what are those moments where it's kind of like a crossroad where if I choose this, I go back into my old patterns, whereas if I chose this, I move forward into a new identity. Is it he comes back? I see him. Is it, my urge to check his social medias? Is it my feelings of missing him? And those are probably all one if you're struggling with leaving a toxic relationship. But there's more. I mean, intense loneliness. There's so many examples of these moments. And so step one is really sitting down at a time where you're not emotionally charged and identifying these moments so that when they come, you'll know, oh yeah, this is one of those moments. I need to do what I'm planning and not act on whatever I'm feeling because I don't want to continue the old pathway of doing this. I can't listen to the voice that got me here. And so once you have identified your test, step two is planning ahead. It's thinking about what do I want to remember in those moments. I used to actually write myself messages, even if it was just like, he is drugs. Do not do drugs, like you don't want the drugs. Like maybe that's not the most helpful message, but I honestly would like just keep pounding that into my head. Like, you don't like drugs, you don't like drugs, don't do drugs. Whatever it takes for you. What are the things you want to remember? What truths do you want to come back to? You've tried this before. It doesn't work. You don't want to go down that hole again. It's asking those questions. What do I want to remember? Also, what can I do instead of acting on this? Maybe there's an activity that helps you to calm down. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's putting your phone in a freaking lockbox and I don't know, coloring. Like it's going to look different for everyone, but like what is an activity that can ground you so that you can, take time before you act on what you feel. What people can support you? Who can you turn to in these moments that aren't going to judge you, who aren't going to shame you, who aren't going to tell you what to do? And that's crucial because if you have the wrong kind of friend, and friends don't always know better, they always are well intentioned, but sometimes they don't understand how shame can make us spiral more. But like having a friend that will literally sit with you, not judge you, and not tell you what to do, but just be like, let's go get ice cream. Let's go watch a movie. Like a friend that will support you through that moment is really important. Also, I understanding why you don't want to act on that. I literally made a picture of my child self, my younger self, my lock screen because I wanted to remember that she deserves better. If I know I didn't feel the best in like my relationship with myself because I just had so much shame from the years of, basically allowing myself to be emotionally abused. But my younger self, I look at my baby self and I think she doesn't deserve that. She deserves a life filled with love, with creativity, with peace. So I would keep her as my lock screen, and people thought it was weird. And I didn't care because that was my reminder. So sitting down and thinking, what is going to help me not act on this when I feel it? And then finally, it's kind of like creating that plan. This is what I'm going to actually do in that moment. First, you need to recognize the tests. That's why identifying them will help. Second is to breathe. Nervous system regulation is crucial. Crucial. Like, you need to be able to breathe, take longer exhales than your inhales, and say, I am safe. 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 I don't care if it takes like an hour of saying I'm safe. I'm safe right now. Nothing is happening. This is all mind projection. I'm okay. In this very moment, I'm okay. It's hard, but it gets easier with time. And breathing is really just the best thing you can do for yourself when you're emotionally overwhelmed, to try and like bring your prefrontal cortex back online. And finally, it's moving into that protocol you've thought about. Maybe you think reading the message is the best. Maybe it's turning to that friend, doing that activity. Do that. The most important key here is that you do not act on what you feel, I would say for 24 hours at least. If you in 24 hours still feel like this is what you should do, you can reassess, you know? But the most important part of this protocol is that it keeps you from acting on whatever you need to do. And again, like, I just want to be so clear that when you do this and you don't act on what you feel, that is healing. Like, that is genuinely healing. It's not feeling that, not having the urge. It's about how you react to that urge, what you choose to do, even though that urge exists. We don't need to get rid of it. We just need to see that this is not the ultimate truth that defines what I'm going to do next. And that is where your freedom lives, is in that gap between this feeling or this stimulus and what I actually choose to do. That is healing, period. With all of this, I hope that you feel a little more confident that you can handle the moment in a way that's going to move you forward instead of set you back. And understand that there's no shame in whatever you do. It's all a learning process. And this is how you learn. If you've gone back in the past, if you failed, that is how you learn. That is what's taught you that you don't want to do that. And that is a win. So just know that that moment is going to come back, and your freedom lies in the way you choose to meet it. So, yeah, I really hope you find this helpful. If you do, please leave a comment. Please send this to a friend who needs it. Like I said, if this resonates and you want more specialized support, I do offer free one-on-one clarity calls. I hope to meet you. I love getting to know the women behind this community, that behind their screens. It makes everything I do worth it, and I'd love to meet you. Until next time, I'm sending you all so much love. Bye, guys.